Hello, my lovelies. Today we're going to be talking about what it takes for a character to be deemed a Disney princess. I'll tell you about how this whole thing came about and why I'm making this video after I roll the intro. So if this is something you're into, stick around. We're going to talk about it. So without any further ado, grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's jump into this. Roll the intro. Welcome back. Now, how did this whole subject come about? Well, I was over on TikTok, as one is, and I seen a video made by a wonderful cosplayer, and she was portraying Tinkerbell, and the subject was Tinkerbell wanders into the Forgotten Princess suite. And that's something that not a lot of people know about, is that there's a lot of Disney princesses people deem either underrated or forgotten. And I was looking through the comments again, as one does, and I seen that somebody was asking about Odette, the Swan Princess. And in a gesture of this is something I've known about since I was a kid. I've been a huge fan of the Disney Princess franchise since its inception when I was a child. I was obsessed with all the Disney princesses, still kind of am. It's been a special interest of mine since I was a kid, so I thought since I knew a lot about this stuff that I would kind of just explain to be kind, be like, clear this up, because I know why she's not a Disney princess or considered a Disney princess. So I thought to, just tell people this is why. And I got some kind of rude comments from the person that originally asked, what about Odette? And they thought I was talking about them, but I wasn't. I was talking to the people that were kind of being rude and saying, reasons why she's not a Disney princess. And I was just trying to help. I wasn't trying to be rude. We cleared that up, thankfully, in the comments, because we were going back and forth in the comments section. And at first they were being kind of rude, thinking I was being rude towards them. I was like, no, I swear I'm not being rude. I'm not. I promise. I'm just trying to help. So this is a video that I do not see on YouTube, and it surprises me because I've looked this up on YouTube before I decided to make the video, and this is actually one of the reasons why I'm making the video. So there are actually a certain criteria as to what character can or cannot be a part of the Disney Princess franchise, being deemed an official Disney princess. Now, this is a franchise that came about in the early 2000s, and it was strictly for just the Disney princesses, because there was a lot of different boy-centric kind of franchises at the time. Toy Story was still pretty hot. Just a lot of boy-centric kind of things. So to counteract this, they made the Disney Princess franchise. And there actually is an official list. And I'm going to be reading them off for you and explaining why certain princesses that we know and love, like Kida from Atlantis, are not on the list, and why certain princesses like Mulan are on the list. So I'm going to go ahead and read those off for you. Now, I had to look them up on Google because I didn't want to miss a single one, because some things have been taken out and some things have been changed since the last time I was super active in the fandom when I was a kid. So I looked them up on Google, and I'm going to read them off for you. The first one is that the heroine must have human-like qualities. This I think this was an exception made specifically for Ariel because she is a mermaid and she is very human-like. Number 2 is the heroine must star in a Disney animated film. Now, this does exclude characters like Odette, the Swan Princess, because the film, the studio that made, Anastasia, the Swan Princess, Thumbelina, these characters would not be considered Disney princesses, because at the time that these films were made, even though now they are owned by Disney and could be considered Disney princesses, they do not make the cut because at the time the films were made, they were not owned or made or involved with Disney, sadly, in any way. So that's a reason why, like, you see Anastasia on Disney Plus, but she's not considered an official Disney princess because the film was not made by a Disney-centric company. Number 3, the heroine must not be introduced in a sequel. Now, this is something I did talk about a while ago on my TikTok, and some people were confused in saying that, well, certain Disney princesses like Cinderella and Ariel and Belle have sequel movies. And they're saying, well, they starred in a sequel. Does that disqualify them to be a Disney princess? No, it's saying that the introduction of a certain character that is a princess or makes some kind of the criteria cannot appear first in a sequel. It doesn't mean that somebody that was a protagonist in their original movie cannot have another movie or it disqualifies them. It means that the character cannot be introduced in a sequel. Therefore, they do not make the cut as a Disney princess. This is why princesses, again, like Cinderella and Ariel, are still considered Disney princesses because their movies were the first movie. It doesn't mean that the sequels equal them out, you know. So, I just wanted to clear that one up. Because they have a sequel, it does not mean that they're no longer a Disney princess. It just simply means that there is a sequel. But if a character like Melody, Ariel's daughter, who technically is a princess because by the second movie, it's assumed that Ariel is now queen and Eric is now king, and therefore their daughter Melody would be considered a princess. But Melody's not on any Disney princess merch. In fact, a lot of people don't even know that there is a Little Mermaid sequel, or even a third movie, which is called Ariel's Beginning. That's why Melody is not considered a Disney princess while Ariel is. Number 4, the heroine must be princess by blood, marry into a royal family, or show exceptional heroism. Now, this is an exception that a rule that they added when they introduced Mulan, because Mulan is not a princess by blood. She's not a princess by marriage. In fact, she gets with Li Shang, who is a general. He's not even technically a prince. He's a general in the Chinese army. But you see Mulan on all the merch. It's because she achieved a feat of exceptional heroism in saving China, and this was introduced in order for them to put Mulan on the merchandise. Now, this is a reason why that I get kind of upset over Kida from Atlantis not being a Disney princess or on any of the merch, and I will go into the reason why Kida deserves to be called a Disney princess, but one of these rules automatically rules Kida out, and it's at the very end, and this also explains why you see Frozen having its own franchise while the Disney Princess franchise is a separate one. Alright, so just keep that in mind, put a pin in that one for later. And the last one is being number 5. The heroine's film must be a commercial success. Now, this is one that does kind of upset me because even though Kida makes all the criteria of number 4, you know, she saved Atlantis, she achieved a feat of absolute heroism by saving her people, by sacrificing herself for her people. And she's a princess by blood. The reason she has 2 of the 3, most of the criteria, she looks like a human, she is a human, she made a feat of exceptional heroism, and she's a princess by blood. But because Atlantis the Lost Empire did not make enough money in the box office, Kida was knocked out of the running to be called a Disney princess. And this is the same case with characters like Elanwe from The Black Cauldron. The Black Cauldron is a movie that came out in 1985 or 1986. I forgot which, but it's one of those 2 years. And this movie actually scared children when it came out because of the Horned King, who is still considered right next to Maleficent to Disney fans as one of the most evil Disney characters that Disney has ever made. So the Horned King scared a lot of children. They started taking the movie out of theaters, and that's why you don't really see a lot of Black Cauldron merch at all, or people talking about it really until recent years. Because this was a movie that Disney actively tried to make people forget. This was a movie that Disney tried to make people forget. So that's why Elanwe, Kida, they're not Disney princesses in Disney's eyes. But I love Kida. I love Kida so much, and she deserves it. Okay, Disney, give Kida her flowers. Put her on the merch. Please. Please. Now, in the case of Frozen, I know there's people that say that Anna and Elsa are Disney princesses, and a lot of people dispute this by saying, well, by the end of the second movie, they're both queens, and that's why they're not considered Disney princesses anymore. Actually, that isn't the truth. According to the list that Disney themselves have come up with, the reason why Frozen is its own franchise is because where opposite the cases of Kida and Elanwe, where their film didn't make enough money, Frozen made way too much money. Frozen, we all know that Frozen fever happened. Frozen blew the frick up. That's why Frozen is its own franchise, because it did so well. So that's why, technically, even though they are both princesses or queens, Anna and Elsa are technically part of their own franchise, because they didn't make enough. They made way too much to be considered Disney princesses, and therefore have their own franchise. I think that's why we're probably not going to see a character like Mirabel from Encanto on merch, because again, Encanto made way too much money, made way more money than the list it requires, apparently. I don't know exactly how much money they need to make in order to be official Disney princesses, but that's why. And now we're going to talk about the case of Tinkerbell. If you don't know, in the original list and all the original merch, Tinkerbell was included as a Disney princess. And this was for a long time. She was considered a Disney princess for a while. She was in the original lineup. I remember when I was a kid, there was specifically like a Tinkerbell game that you could play on the Disney Princess website. I was like 6 years old, and you could take, different games with different princesses, and I remember Tinkerbell had her own game. She had her own section on the website, and she was a Disney princess. So why is she not a Disney princess anymore? I'll explain. Well, the case of Tinkerbell is that in the earlier, the 2010s, Disney decided to come up with a whole new franchise, and this centered around Tinkerbell. In 2008, the movie Tinkerbell came out. It's an animated movie, and there's actually several movies in this series, and they created a whole franchise around this movie, and it's the Disney Fairies franchise. And the Disney Fairies had their own logo, their own merch, everything. That's why we have characters like Silver Mist, Iridessa, Rosetta. They're part of the Disney Fairies franchise. And so when the franchise was created for Tinkerbell, they removed her from the Disney Princess list. And that is why she is now part of the Disney Fairies franchise. So, I don't know if this is a video that's even gonna do well. I just really wanted to make this because I did not see a single video going over this, and this is a very heated topic in the niche section of Disney that I'm into. And this whole argument that I had really brought it up. And the TikTok that I made with the list a year ago, again, was made a year ago. So it's kind of old by now, and not a lot of people, I think, seen it. So I wanted to come on here and talk about that and maybe clear this up for some people. And if I missed anything or anyone, put it in the comments below. This was fun to make because this is something like fandom-wise that I've been into for the longest time. This isn't like one of my usual videos where I'm talking about a book or a movie or a TV show. This is just a little fandom fun. And just trying to clear some things up, and I seen that there was not a video about this. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know who your favorite Disney princess is. I will tell you right now, my top 3 Disney princesses are Ariel, Kida, and the third one switches from time to time. The third one switches from time to time, but I always love Mulan and Belle. So I don't know what that says about me. And Rapunzel. I freaking love Rapunzel. So let me know who your favorite Disney princess is in the comments below. Tell me why you love this princess, and I'll see you all later. I hope you have the best day, and if you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I am like 10 people away from hitting 2,000 subscribers, and I would be much appreciated. You can always change your mind later, so if you feel like it, please hit the button if you learned something. Hit the buttons, do all the things. I'll see you guys later. I love you all so, so much. Bye.